Alright guys, welcome back to the Dark Souls 3 all-in-one guide. We're going to do some infusions real quick before we start our quest. Now, when you first start the game, you have access to 3 infusions. The Raw, Refined, and Fire infusions. So you do not need a coal for the Raw gem infusion, the Fire, or the Refined.
Goodbye.
Now, Raw is very good early game because it allows you to get a pretty powerful weapon without having to invest any stats like dex or strength into it. Of course, your damage will fall off eventually, but this will be your 4th out of 15th infusions, the Raw infusion. Our next infusion is going to be the Deep infusion. The Deep gem will allow you to infuse your weapon with dark damage. It does not scale, so it's just like the Fire infusion. But if you're going for the Dancer early on, this is a very good infusion to invest in if you don't want to use the deep battle axe you got from the Mimic in the High Wall of Lothric. Now our next infusion is going to be the Poison gem infusion. Now the poison in this game isn't as useless as people think. I'm going to put it on the Bandit Knife to start with because I'm trying to get all 15 infusions on one weapon, and I suggest you guys do the same. The achievement can be kind of glitchy. I've run into problems. But if you're really going to be investing in poison, this is the dagger you want to put it on, the Rotten Grew dagger, because it starts out with an innate poison, and you're going to build upon that by infusing it with more poison. So it's a much better option.
Be careful.
Now we're going to go level up, and we're going to be focusing on strength right now because we're about to get the best shield in the game, in my opinion, the Shield of Want. What the Shield of Want does is it gives you 20% more souls, so it also can stack with the Covetous Silver Ring and the Symbol of Avarice. It has the 2nd highest stability of any shield in the game, but it has a pretty high stat requirement at 18 strength. In the last episode, we left some items behind. We're going to go ahead and get them, but we're not dealing with the skeletons because screw them. And they're the ones that respawn. We just don't have time for this, so we're just going to go Hidden Body. Pick up the large shard on the right. And a soul item here. Now we're just going to go sit at the bonfire and replenish our FP before we get ready to deal with a rather large annoyance, the ballista in the Smoldering Lake. It fires at you 3 times before reloading, and it will always click before shooting again, so you just have to be kind of listening out, but more importantly you need to be looking at it the whole time. So orienting your camera is vital if you don't want to take damage in the Smoldering Lake. And of course you got all these nice shinies out in the lake just tempting you, but before you go out there, just know that that ballista is going to be firing upon you. What I like to do is just watch it and just time their rolls accordingly. But you don't have much time before going to the next item. Just keep looking at the ballista. It will reorient, re-aim, and reload. But you can see it's pretty easy to dodge as long as you're looking at it. And you'll see a few times I fail because I'm not looking at it. Now we're going to go do Horus's quest. I think I was wrong about Henri's quest. If you kill the boss, she disappears, yes, but she reappears in the Church of Yorska, and I still think you can get the Ring of the Evil Eye and continue her quests, but I wasn't sure, so I went ahead and got the ring before moving on and killing the boss, Walnir. But you definitely want to get these 2 crystal lizards. This one in particular has the Titanite chunk. Now for Horus, he is so easy. All you got to do is use Carthus Rouge here, and if you just wait for him to attack initially, hopefully he'll do a jump attack like this. If you just get in there, he's done. He can't. If you stay on him, you hit his shield like 3 times, you can riposte him just like that, and he'll bleed out with the Carthus Rouge on top of your knife. Already does bleed damage. This is the strategy we're pretty much going to use for every NPC going forward, especially the next one, Night Slayer Sorg, who can be quite troublesome for players. Well, to pick up a shield, we'll be using the shield later as our main parry shield, but we're going to infuse it with a simple gem, but we don't have access to that yet. And this is your yellow bug pellets. I saved these for the Nameless King. Now, I think you could skip this next part. I'm going back to Henri because I've killed Horus now, and I'm going to tell her about it because I can get the Ring of the Evil Eye, and it will pretty much have her leave the catacombs now. But I think you can still get this ring in the Church of Yorska, as I mentioned before. But I just didn't want to take any chances. A fun fact that I didn't know at first, I did this in Dark Souls 1 as well with the blue Tearstone ring. You don't need the blue Tearstone ring to do it here, but you can actually backstep backwards into the boulder and you won't take a whole lot of damage and it won't stun you. Pretty cool thing. You can actually roll through it as well. Oh, our old friend that we missed last time. We can get him now. Well, maybe. Well, he'll commit suicide most of the time anyway. There it is. We didn't get this for last time for some reason. The bug pellets. I still do not understand how the skeletons work. Sometimes they come at me, sometimes they don't. But just talk to Henri quickly and get out of here before the skeletons come. Just tell her of Smoldering Lake, you'll get the ring. And then we're just going to hightail it out of here. Even though the ballista is quite annoying, it can be helpful to unlock a shortcut to the demon ruins, and it will allow you to get the next ring that we're going to get, called the Speckled Stone Plate Ring. Now what this ring does is it increases your resistances for fire, lightning, and dark by 5%. Not a whole lot, but it still can be stacked with other rings. We will use this ring against the boss, the old Demon King, because he has heavy fire attacks, and we can stack it with the Fire Stone Plate Ring, Red Bug Pellets, and Flash Lead. You can see off in the distance there's a wall, and that's the wall we want to get to. There's a portion of it that can be broken, and that's where we'll get the Speckled Stone Plate Ring. As before, just watch the ballista and wait for the shots. You'll get pretty adept at dodging these things. It's not too hard as long as you're looking at it. That's the main thing, just looking at it. You take your eyes off of it though, you're going to take a hit. Some people just like to take hits to propel them into the direction they're going. You can use the trees for cover as well. Some areas, not a whole lot, will provide cover. But what you want to do is just stand in front of it and either take the shot, take one for the team, or just dodge out of the way. You're staring down the barrel right down the middle there. And even though we don't use it, there is a way to get to the Demon Ruins main part. Shortcut that cuts out a lot of the nonsense, although we're going to go through the main part of it. But right here is where you want to get the ballista to fire, and if you want you can drop down. There's a pyromancy tome right off the bat and a chaos gem right down there, but there's another chaos gem guarded by the crabs over here, which we're going to go get in a second. And you don't even need to use hidden body here. They don't aggro if you stay to the left. I've never had them come at me. They're just a scare tactic basically. Just stick to the left and you won't aggro. The rat pyromancies in the Demon Ruins can drop these as well, these chaos gems. Or you can get one from the Crystal Lizard in the Demon Ruins. Our next item is the Shield of Want. As I mentioned before, this is a great item. There are some items in Dark Souls that you just want, like the Symbol of Avarice in all the games. You want that. In this one, you want the Shield of Want. It's obviously named appropriately. It gives you 20% more souls. It's got the second highest stability, like I mentioned before. The only problem is it has a high strength requirement of 18, and Unfortunately, it upgrades with Titanite scales, which we are not going to waste Titanite scales initially on the shield because we want to get our Crystal Sage Rapier and our Dragon Rider bow, which is going to be our main final bow that we're going to have. But it's not going to be for a while to upgrade that. We get it in this episode, but we're just not going to be able to upgrade it because the Titanite scales are going to go into the Rapier first. And you can see I finally took my eye off the Ballista, but there's the Shield of Want. You want to approach the worm from this side because I've noticed if you go to the left, that thing will spray you down with lightning and kill you so fast. But if you haven't known the trick by now, all you have to do is come over here and stand by this rock, and the worm will drop an Undead Bone Shard and a Miracle, the Lightning Stake. You'll get your 5th out of your 10th for your Ultimate Bonfire and your 6th out of 36 Miracles for the Master of Miracle achievement. And there we go. Now at this point you have two options. You could go to the left and go to the boss, but we're not going to do that. Instead we're going to go to Demon Ruins because there is a lot of good stuff in Demon Ruins and there's no reason to not go there. And of course if you're going for 100% you have to go in here anyway. But before we delve deep into the Demon Ruins, we're going to go ahead and go back to Firelink because we have a large quantity of large Titanite shards now, and we got another Titanite chunk from that Crystal Lizard. But here you can actually summon Night Slayer Sorig to help you in this area and actually have him fight himself, which is pretty funny. Never done it, but it is pretty cool if you want to do that kind of thing. Kind of like two Big Daddies in Bioshock fighting each other with the plasmid. I've done that before. Had loads of fun doing that. Anyway, make sure to burn your Undead Bone Shards. I always seem to forget. And we're going to upgrade our knife to +7 because we dropped a black firebomb to Pickle Pea earlier, and we got that other chunk just now from the Crystal Lizard, so that puts us at +7, which is amazing. And we're going to get our longbow to +4.
Be careful.
We'll be able to farm a little bit more shards to get our bow to +6 before we go to Irithel. Make sure to give the ashes to the Handmaiden because now you can buy Karthus Rouge from her infinitely, which is very nice. We're going to go ahead and sell our souls as well because we're going to level up again. We're working on strength currently. We need to get it to 18 if we want to use our shield with one hand. Now bear in mind you do not have to have your strength at 18 if you just want the benefit from the souls, but I want to use it as a shield as well. From the Shield of Want.
Welcome must be very then take. Farewell, Ashen One.
Now as far as Demon Ruins goes, it's not that big. I thought it was a really complicated area when I first got to it, but I've memorized it now. It's not that big of an area really, and I'm going to show you guys how to get through it with minimal problems. But right now we want to make sure we have our setup looking like this. We want to get our bow out because we're going to be using it, and we got to make sure we have the Aldridge Sapphire because we do not have Ashen Flasks, and we're going to be using our Hidden Body repeatedly through this area. But because we're using Hidden Body, combining it with backstabs, we're going to get our focus points back. So right here is your first Pyromancy Rat. I don't know what they're called, but they're quite dangerous. And they can drop Chaos Gems and Titanite Shards, but like I said before, they are very dangerous, and they'll put out these orbs that shoot fire at you like a turret. So what we want to do is just backstab this guy. Back away from him quite a bit. This guy has a closer aggro range than you would think. So we're just going to backstab him 3 times. We'll get our focus points back. And when they die, their turrets go with it. Their Chaos Balls go with it. Now here, what I like to do, I like to fire upon these fireballs that are already down there. Down there is a cluster, but we're going to take care of it right now. So what you do is you get your bow out, use the strongest arrow you got. I'm just watching the entrance there because sometimes they'll aggro to you once you start shooting at their balls, their fireballs. When they start making that chant, that means they're putting out one. But what you want to do here, I like to just go ahead and kill these guys right now. Get rid of them now, because they are a pain in the ass. And they will just ruin your day when you come down here. So you just kill them now, using hidden body backstab combo. The other one won't aggro because he doesn't even know you're here. Remember, count 20 something seconds and reapply hidden body if you're doing a long drawn out thing like this. There's one more down here we need to take care of, and after that we'll get our next undead bone shard. A lot easier to get stuff when you don't have to be bombarded by 1,000 fireballs coming from every direction. He wouldn't let us backstab him, so we're just going to kill him. This is like the main hub of the area. It connects to various different rooms, so just this is your go-to area. So you definitely want to clear it out. But here's your next undead bone shard. If you stick to the left there, that falling lava slime will not get to you. But right now, we're going to go poison some grooves up top. There is really no reason to go back up top. This whole top area houses one item. An ember. That's it. It's a bunch of grooves and one ember. If you really want to deal with all that, and which I'm going to do just because it's the guide here, but this is really a waste of time. This entire top area is a waste of time. Unless you just have to have that ember, because it's basically a dead end that leads to an ember. That's it. But what I like to do is I like to go hidden body here. There's a group of them here. If you stand right here and you poison them with the storytellers, they'll all just run to the area and all get poisoned, except for this one that's sitting down. I can never get him to poison him for some reason, so we'll have to deal with him later. But as they're poisoned, we're just going to go deal with a Black Knight and come back and get the ember later. The poison will take effect over time and we won't have to deal with them. But right here, to the left, if you go all the way down this hall, there's an illusionary wall that leads to an area that has a Black Knight sword and a Black Knight there that's massacring the grooves. There's a guy here that will go down the hall. You can get the jump on him and just stand around the corner and wait for him. Black Knight in here. I didn't have enough to cast hidden body, so I'm going to have to do this the old-fashioned way. I'm trying to get the jump on him. Didn't quite work out, as he uppercuts me there. These guys do great damage, like I said. They're not to be toiled with too much. As long as you can get behind them and backstab them, you'll be okay, but they leave themselves open when they do heavy attacks, usually. We're not going to sit at a bonfire. That's very important. We do not want to sit at a bonfire right now because we do not want to get those pyromancy rats to respawn. So we are not going to sit at a bonfire right now. Now those grooves should be dead from the poison by now, so we're going to go get that one ember up there. We're going to go get it. We'll have to deal with one guy. This is the guy that wouldn't be poisoned for some reason. I'm sure I could have tried to poison him better, but at least his friends are gone. It's just more difficult to face 4 guys instead of 1. Poison helps thin the ranks. Backstabs all day to get those focus points up, because we're going to need to use focus points again soon. Ammo is... These enemies are essentially your ammo for getting your focus points back. Now here are 2 mad grooves. It's just not worth coming this way. I don't agree coming this way, but I'm only doing it here to show you guys what's here. You got 2 mad grooves, which are very dangerous enemies on their own. But then you have a trap here. The ember's trapped. You got around the corner, you got one of those, I don't even know what they're called, demon statues from Dark Souls 1, and you got the falling slime. It's just a trap because it's a dead end, and the game wants you to get trapped by the fire, basically. But there's your ember. On to the meat of the area now. Now we're going to go deep into the ruins now. We're basically trying to get to where the shortcut was if we were to drop down from the Smoldering Lake. So we're going to go the conventional way here. There's some grooves here that we can attack. And one of those stupid statues. This one is unawares here. I'm not sure if these little ones can drop large shards or not. I know that the big ones can drop large shards. And I'm going to farm those just for a bit to get my bow up to +6 before going into Irithel. And any weapon you want to do, you can do that too. If you don't have just enough shards to get another weapon. There are enough littered through the Smoldering Lake to get at least one weapon to +6. Now here's where I farm in this area. Now there's another enemy over to the left, which you're not going to deal with him because it just loops around over here, so you don't really need to go. It's just a circle. So we're going to go to the bonfire. We're just going to light it. We're not going to sit at it, because if we sit at it, guess what happens? All those rat pyromancies and their stupid annoying fireball turrets are going to respawn, and we need to go down there again, so we're not going to deal with that. Oh no. Now, if you were to have dropped down from the Smoldering Lake, this is where you would end up. Over here around the corner. Down this hallway, about middle through this hallway is where you would fall down. So it cuts off a good portion. It puts you right at the bonfire. It's a good shortcut. And of course, here's your crystal lizard for the next chaos gem if you didn't get the one guarded by the crabs. Now this next room houses a pyromancy tome, but it has 3 enemies in it, and they like to flank you all at once. So what we're going to do is hidden body here. We're going to the right first. I'm going to backstab this guy. As soon as they put their foot down, 1 foot on the ground is all you need, and you know they're going to be susceptible to attack as soon as they rise up. This guy, all he likes to do is poison most of the time, toxic. You just take care of him quickly. This is the last pyromancy tome that your merchant will accept. The other 2, he will not accept them. So you'll have to give them to Carla much later in the game. Now, since we didn't sit at the bonfire, well, you don't have to worry about those annoying rats. So we're going to go over here and get our next Estus shard, our 7th out of 11 for your ultimate Estus achievement. Just run through this hallway. Don't deal with these things. I've never fought them. There's no sense in it. But they will fall down. You just got to go between them. Now it's time for our second round with Night Slayer Sorig. Same as before. We're going to use Carthus Rouge. Oh, actually, before that, I'm going to show you guys the 4 most annoying items in this entire game to obtain. So this is the way you got the Black Knight sword, just to show you guys. But over here, down here, there's a rat. There's a lone rat sitting here, so you know you're going the right way. This also leads to another pyromancy tome. But you want to come this way. I'm going to use hidden body because screw these rats. They're so annoying. Illusionary wall right here, and you'll see a familiar sight. The fair lady from Dark Souls 1 and her sister embracing each other. That's quite touching, I must say. That this area can go to hell. This area is terrible. You're going to have to do multiple suicide runs to get those 2 items. One is a toxic mist spell, and the other is a talisman. The white hair talisman. So we're going to get that at the end of the episode, but not right now. We're going to do that on separate suicide runs. It's just stupid. Now down here is where we're going to go. We're just going to throw on hidden body because screw these rats. I don't like dealing with them. There's another illusionary wall right here. It's easy to run past it. The game's throwing large shards at you. They want you to upgrade your weapons to +6 pretty much. I don't like dealing with basilisks. I'm just going to run past them because screw them and their stupid curse build-up. And there's a Titanite skill here. Make sure to pick that up. And now it's time for Night Slayer Sorig. This guy, he's kind of tough, guys. I'm not going to lie. He's got... If you fought him before, you know what you're dealing with. Karthus Rouge for the win here. And be aggressive more than you would think you would be aggressive. You can't let him intimidate you. You have to go in for the kill. But I try to wait till he does a heavy attack of some kind to get in there with the attacks. But his attacks do ridiculous damage at this stage of the game. He'll two-shot you most of the time. But you definitely you want to wait until he does his main heavy attack. You'll know which one it is. This one. This is the one you want. He's vulnerable after that attack. So if you just want to bait out that one attack and just wait, you're good. This one's another one. He can be punished. And don't care if he's got a shield up, you can still knock it away. Riposte him again. And that's it. You'll get the Fume Knight sword from Dark Souls 2 and the shield. Here's another annoying area. This one's easier to deal with though. You can actually run across this area with your shield up. We'll get those items later. It's an Ember and another spell. The Sacred Flame Pyromancy. Now we're going to shut off the ballista and get our bow, our main bow, that will be our mainstay for New Game Plus 2 and 3. Because by then we'll have it fully upgraded. We'll have it upgraded at the end of this one, but this playthrough, but it's up this ladder here. I don't deal with this Black Knight. But this bow, the Dragon Rider bow, is actually the more powerful bow. One of the more powerful bows in the game, actually. And it's not that heavy either. It's a little heavy, but it's not going to be like a great bow or anything. It's definitely going to be our bow of choice for the end game. But until then, we'll have to go with the longbow. It has the same weapon art as the longbows too, so we're not going to lose any weapon art by going with that. Speaking of bows, we might as well talk about the other two bows. The short bow and the Black Bear of Ferris bow, they have pretty interesting weapon arts that can be useful. More useful is the short bow because it has a lightning fast attack, which is good for building up poison arrows if you want to do that. Poison build up. It's better for status effects than anything really. So even though it doesn't do a hell of a lot of damage, it's still a pretty viable weapon. But the Black Bow of Ferris, meh. I think that's the more useless of all the bows weapon arts. The triple shot, it's just too wide of a spread. I haven't really experimented. You have to be, it's like a shotgun. You'd have to be real close to it, to your enemy. Now here, I do not recommend fighting any enemies. Just run past them and turn off the ballista and get ready for the boss. That's just what I like to do anyway. There's bone wheel skeletons to the right. They can aggro and interrupt you when you're coming over here to fight these two skeletons. And then the matrix skeletons up here will all gang up on you. It's just a cluster and it's just not worth it. So I like to make sure I have enough to reapply hidden body again. And turn this thing off. No more ballista. We're just going to drop off here. Pretty good damage fall here. Be careful. Make sure you have a decent amount of health. You might just die all of a sudden. I didn't have Spook equipped. I thought I was going to have to use Caressing Tears, but I didn't. There was one large shard we left near the worm that we're going to go ahead and get. We've looted the rest of the area, so we don't have to do any more backtracking. And then we'll just prep for the boss. Speaking of the boss, the old Demon King, fire resistance is your main thing. And if you're going for the spotted whip, you have to have, I forget what his name is, you have to have the NPC survive. So you need to tank this boss. You can't waste time. You can actually poison him. I could poison him. He's very susceptible to poison with the staff, and you could just hide from him the whole time, but you have to be guns blazing here and putting on as much fire-resistant gear as you can. Rings, bug pellets, spells, we're going to use it all. And lightning bundles are very effective against this boss, I have noticed, and that's what we're going to use. Lightning pine bundles. So what we want to do here, actually we're going to go back to, I think we're going to, no. We're going to go ahead and stack all of our defenses. The fire stone plate ring is a no-brainer. We want stamina, and we want the speckled stone plate ring. This is going to stack fire defense for us. Lightning pine bundles and lightning pine resins, if you have them. And red bug pellets. And green blossoms. The more stamina you have, the more you can be attacking, the better. If we actually had the right Eye of Pontiff for this fight, it would have been a significantly shorter battle. Of course, he's not really going to get to his phases. We forgot to attune Flash Sweat. We definitely want that. Flash Sweat is most important here, for sure. Make sure you attune that. It'll definitely help out if you're tanking, and we are tanking this boss. We're going to get right up on him. If I've noticed if you get right up on his crotch, he can't really do too much. And of course, his AoEs will still hit you, but that's what our tanking gear is for. But the NPC must survive the fight. If he dies, you have to restart if you want the spotted whip and their gear. It's important to prep the really long stuff, like the stuff that lasts the longest, like red bug pellets last a long time. Go ahead and eat those, and then do Flash Sweat. Get ready to eat your bundle, or your green blossom, and don't use the bundle because it only lasts 10 seconds. So make sure you get right up on him and use it, and reactivate it when it depletes, when you get a chance, of course. Basically, just get right up on his crotch and just attack. That's all I can say. I don't really have a strategy for this guy. It's most important to just get on him and just don't stop attacking. Of course, if you take a lot of hits, you'll have to back off, but like right here, I've taken some damage. So I'm gonna drink, I'm gonna reapply, and go back to town. He will transition into his second phase soon, but we're just gonna keep going. We don't care about his second phase. The more attacks you get in, the better. I don't even know what's happening. As long as you stay really close to him, you can't really take a whole lot of damage. You just got to keep the pressure on him. He's summoning his fireballs, which will definitely hit us, but that's what we're tanking for. Took a good bit of damage there. It's time to heal. Those stupid rings of fire. But he's almost dead. We almost got him. Now be careful, he will do a massive AoE attack once he gets down about a quarter of his health, or less than a quarter of his health. He's going to go full nuclear on you, and it's an instant kill most of the time. But we were able to finish him off there. I should have put on the Shield of Want and the Mimic Hat, Symbol of Avarice right there. Whenever you kill a boss, make sure to put those two items on because it gives you more souls. So I missed an opportunity there to get more souls. And now we're going to go get our prize for having that NPC survive that fight. The Spotted Whip and their gear. Or garb. We're going to go back to the cliff underside bonfire in the Undead Settlement. And we're basically going back to where our pyromancy merchant was. I can never remember these people's names, NPC names. And while we're in the Undead Settlement, let's go ahead and get the Hawk Ring, because our buddy the Giant has passed away, sadly. But we can get the Hawk Ring from his corpse. And that's what we're going to get. The 30th ring out of 107, the Hawk Ring. What this ring does is it extends the arrow's distances. So if it's not dropping and if it's going straight, it's going to do more damage. So it's good for archery builds or whenever you're going for a long shot. I didn't even know about the quick bar. I'm using it now. Thanks for the ring. Alright, now, back to Firelink. We're going to get a couple more rings before ending the episode. And unfortunately, we have to go back to get those annoying items in the fire pits of hell. Now that we've got our strength, or enough souls to get our strength to 18, we can wield one-handed the Shield of Want. And I'm going to go ahead and put that sucker on now, because there's no reason for me not to have that shield on 90% of the time. I'm going to be using another shield later, but I don't have the infusion for it yet. But whenever you're killing bosses, make sure you have this shield on, even if you're not killing the regular enemies with it. And ignore this ring setup. I'm just prepping for some grinding I'm going to do later for some large Titanite shards. Now for our next ring, 31 out of 107, Havel's Ring. You get this from the soul of the Stray Demon, which you killed in Faerun Keep. You'll need to get another spell from it later in New Game Plus, but for now, we're going to focus on rings this playthrough. And our next one is Pontiff's Left Eye. You get this from killing Vort of the Boreal Valley. So we're going to use that as our 32 out of 107. Now we're going to go to Andre and upgrade our Estus Flask. Give him our shards. Always make sure you give your shards and your tomes and everything, because it's really easy to forget. Right here, we're just going to give him our shards. One shard we got. And we're going to upgrade our bow. We're to +5. We're trying to get that to +6.
Be careful.
Now, unfortunately, we got to go back to the pits of hell and get these stupid items that are in the lava for some reason. So what you want to do is have all your fire resistant gear on. And a trick here is you can run with your shield out. Forget the profuse sweat, that didn't work. But you can run with your shield out and you won't take hardly any damage until you start picking up the items, and then you'll die. So as you see, I do it again. You can only do this trick in this pool of lava. It will not work in the next pool. I don't know why. It just doesn't. Toxic Mist is the next one here. And there's these little creatures in here. Not really creatures, these lava slimes or whatever. They'll also cause damage to you at the same time. So again, I don't even know why I put on Profuse Sweat. It doesn't do anything. Flash Sweat is the one you want. As you can see, it doesn't work. It's just too much intensity, I guess. But if you really, really want this item over here, you're going to have to keep chugging Estus, unless you have Havel's armor on or something. Alright, now let's end the catacombs. High Lord Walnir. This will be an achievement, your 15th of 43. This boss is extremely easy. However, if you waste time, he can be quite interesting. He'll pull out a sword from the ground. He'll summon skeletons. He'll have this breath that'll kill you almost instantly. So we just don't like to deal with all that nonsense. So we're going to kill him almost in like less than a minute. So the way we do that is we're going to use gold pine resin again. And we're going to have the sword ring on to give us extra damage because we don't intend to take damage from this boss. I'm already putting on my Shield of Want because I want those extra shoals. But always put on the Mimic Hat too. You should have it by now if you've been following the walkthrough. But yeah, Walnir, he's kind of a random boss. You never really know what he's going to do. Now, some people have said, oh, go to the right first and take out the right bangle. Some people have said, go to the left first and take out both bangles. What I found which works best is going to my left, his right, first, and then deal with the next set of bangles. I've had more success this way than any other, so that's what I'm going to stick to in this walkthrough. The skeletons may or may not follow you. I always just break the bridge down just because I don't like nasty surprises. Well, I didn't do it this time, did I? Okay. But yeah, this boss is kind of random. It might go well or it might go bad. I've actually had him pull out the sword. I never saw the sword before. So it just depends how much time you take. It's a DPS damage timer thing. You can actually sneak up on him, which I try to do here. But you want to make sure you pick up that pyromancy tome before you get teleported out of here. But he'll wake up and just buff all your stuff. I like to use gold pine resin here. A blessed weapon is actually better, but I didn't invest in faith. So once that one's broke, you just want to work your way over to the next set. Try to hit both at the same time. Angle yourself as best as you can. He'll get knocked back every time you cause damage to his bracelets. But as long as you stay on him, you shouldn't have much trouble with this boss. He's pretty much one of the easiest bosses in Dark Souls history. Not as easy as the Covetous Demon, but pretty close. Make sure you pick this up, though, before getting teleported out. We're going to put our Mimic Hat on. And we'll get more souls than what we would have gotten. And that's it. I'm going to go level up one more time, and that'll be the episode, guys. Next episode, we'll be going into Irithyll, and we'll be taking on all that has to offer. Now that I've got my strength up, I need vitality up so I don't fat roll when I have all my equipment. So I'm going to go ahead and get vitality. I don't have to get it up too high. I think all I need is like 15 for my build. Maybe 16, I'm not exactly sure. But it won't be a heavy stat investment. And we're going to go give our pyromancy tomes away. The Karthus and Izalith are the only ones he's going to accept here. These two at the bottom, he will not accept. We'll have to give those to Carla later on.
What have then you brilliant now the prime. Do not be gone for long. What is a teacher?
Alright, that's it, guys. I'll see you guys in the next one.